Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a super fun Colourpop video for you guys. I just got this new collection in the mail. I feel like it's been a little bit since Colourpop has had a brand new collection like this. This is the In the Springs collection. It's a Palm Springs collection, which is super adorable. I definitely was excited when I saw this sneak peeked on Trendmood because I literally just went to Palm Springs in April, so that was my first time going and I really loved the whole city. I really want to go back when I'm not like at Coachella and stuff and actually have more time to explore because it's really beautiful. There's lots to do and it's like a small enough town where I don't feel like it's hard to drive there, super crowded, all that. Of course, in this collection we do have an eyeshadow palette. This is the In the Springs palette and the packaging here is kind of like this door design. So in Palm Springs there is a lot of these bright colored doors like this that have this design on them, so that's kind of what it is reminding me of. And then it has some really pretty orange florals on it. It is a really fun summer palette and this is what it looks like here. So we have the cityscape in the back that looks exactly like when I went there with the whole mountains in the background. It is so beautiful there. It is in the desert and it's just so different than what we have here in Iowa. I loved it. I would love to go back. But you have some really fun colors in here. It's kind of an orange and blue type of palette, which is popular colors there for sure, but it's also super summery, very warm toned, and we also have some neutrals in there as well. So I will go ahead and share the swatches for you guys of this palette. I thought that the shimmers performed great as per usual. The mattes were good in the first two rows until I got to this one here, and then from there on the mattes, as the darker they got, they were kind of dry feeling. They almost all felt like pressed pigments, but it looks like in the palette there is a few, but some of the ones were unexpected. So actually this Neon Kiss color is a pressed pigment, as well as Get Aerial here, and then Hole in One is also. So sometimes those can cause staining. This collection should be launching on Thursday, by the way. Colourpop always does Thursday launches, and it seems like we haven't had a launch from them because last week they did the Lippy Sticks collection, and then the week prior I think they took a break because it was Memorial Day, but otherwise we always see stuff every week. It was honestly kind of nice not to have so much for a while. I kind of wish they would maybe do every other week or something like that because it does get to be a lot, but I mean, they do kind of make something for everyone. The next thing in this collection, there is going to be some SUPERSHOCK highlighters. There's actually 3 total. So this is what the box looks like, and then this is what the actual packaging looks like. So I feel like the box is a lot cuter than this like plastic packaging. I don't know, I'm not like a super big fan of that. But there is 3 total. This is the lightest in the collection, called Flip Flop. And usually the SUPERSHOCK highlights come in a lot bigger packaging. I like that these are a little bit smaller, so that is nice. And if you're new to this formula, it's like almost bouncy when you touch it. It feels almost wet. It's kind of like a cream highlighter. It does lean a little bit more golden, which is fun for summer. And then the medium tone, this is called Windmill. And this one would be actually very pretty as a blush in my opinion, as a glowy blush. It is meant to be a highlight, but I did try it out today on the cheeks. And then lastly, we have this more bronzy tone, which is, I think, NATCH. So here is the 3 tones, very summery, bronzy, warm colors. Next in the collection we have some eyeliners, the cream gel formula, which I love. So we do have 4 shades here. The first one being this bright orange, which is called Puppy. Now I'm not really sure if these are like shades they've already had because they don't really make sense with the theme in my opinion. We also have a nude color in Honeydude. So that is the first 2. We have a bronzy brown called Overboard, which looks like this. And then lastly is this fun blue called Crystal Crush. So these are the 4 eyeliners. I think they match really good with the eyeshadow palette. And then lastly in the collection, we do have 4 new shades of their Glowing Lips lipstick. This is one of my favorite formulas from Colourpop. All the rest of the stuff kind of has that same light blue with the little door design. So the first color in the Glowing Lips we have, this is Mid-Century, and these are super shiny lipsticks. So this one is Mid-Century, which is more of your red. We also have an orange in the collection. This one is Desert Aura. We have a neutral called Botanicals. And another neutral in Adults Only. So those are the glowing lips next to the eyeliners. So that is everything that is in this collection. I feel like it's a really nice curated one. Next up, I'm going to be sharing how I got this look and kind of my try on with the product so we could see how it applies. So let's get into that. Alright guys, so we are going to dive into the palette first, of course. And I am going to go ahead and start with the Neon Kiss Bright Orange in the palette. And I'm going to place this in the crease. I'm just using a small Sephora number 24 crease brush. And this is a really fun bright orange. I did layer it up just a couple times to really get the intense pigment. I'm going to wipe my brush off and then we'll go into, let's try out the dark blue in the palette. This one is Hole in One. I'm going to just kind of set this in the very outer corner. I'm building this one up quite a bit. I feel like it's a little bit sheer going on when trying to kind of blend it. Next, I'm going to take the Intense shade here, and I'm kind of putting this in the middle, blending into the navy. I'm trying to play with adding a little bit more colors than I usually do because I'm not always good at mixing colors. I can do a good like monochromatic look, but when it comes to mixing different like color families, that's where I struggle. So I'm trying to get better at that and just experiment more, but I feel like I always struggle. Like, I'll just be real with you. I'm like not a makeup artist by any means. I'm just a self-taught person who loves makeup, but just kind of like blending oranges and blues together without them getting like changing color, you know, where the edges are. So I'm still practicing. I'm not like the best at it, but I can still get a pretty good feel for how a palette is. So just kind of blending this matte here. I'm leaving the inner corner open. I think I actually want to deepen up the orange up there, so I'm going to take a little bit of Get Ariel, which it has a little bit of sparkle in there, but it is a matte, and then take this over top a little bit just to make it a little more orange. It was looking a little like macaroni and cheese orange to me. I'm going to take that same and deeper orange, the Get Ariel, on my lower lash line. Okay, and then I'm going to dip into the Climb Time on my finger, and we will run this along the lid. And I'm going over top even of that turquoise we placed down. And that just kind of brings the whole look more together, adding in that shimmer. It's a gorgeous teal, and it has like a little bit of a green shift, like a green gold shift. It's so pretty. I'll focus a bit of the Prick Me shade in the very inner portion. That's basically it for eyeshadow. I'm going to add one of the eyeliners, which I'll probably do the orange one since we did orange on the lower lash line. So I'm taking the shade Puppy. I always love these gel liners. I feel like they have so much pigment to them that is so bright. So that is most of the eyes done. I'm going to finish the rest of my makeup. I'm going to put some lashes on, I think, for this look today, because I always like to do lashes with really fun colorful looks. And then we'll finish up using one of the cheek highlighters and the lipstick. Alright guys, so my video was not having sound for some reason. I think I forgot to flip the switch, but I wanted to quick share what else I used. So I did use on my cheeks, I did try a peachy blush in the shade Warm Sun from Odin's Eye. I used this one and I didn't really love the color of it. That was my first time trying it out, and it seemed a little more yellow toned orange. if that makes sense at all, but that's kind of what it looked like on. But then I went ahead and added a little bit of the Colourpop Windmill as like a little topper, and I love how that just added a little more glow to it. It's really pretty on. Let me just throw on a little bit here for you, but I just lightly dab my brush in and then just throw it on top, add some glow, also a little color, and yeah, I feel like that one actually works really pretty as a blush even for fair or light skin tones. And then on my lips I threw on a more neutral shade in Botanicals for the glowing lip formula, just to kind of match everything and not make too loud of a lip color since our eyes are pretty bright today. So that's what I did. Sorry you didn't see it like completely applied on camera, but I don't know what the heck happened there. Anyways, let's get into my final thoughts. Let me share my first impressions so far on this collection. Definitely, I think the winner for packaging is definitely the eyeshadow palette. It's a little bit lackluster on some of the other products, but for the palette, I love the colors that they went with. It's definitely a very fun summery eyeshadow palette, so perfect for the season. Now, this is kind of a harder color scheme to work with, at least in my opinion. I'm one that wears a little bit more neutral, so I don't wear color on the daily. So it's sometimes hard for me to go in and mix colors, which I was talking about in our try-on. And since orange and blue are complementary colors, if you mix them together, they can look a little muddy on the eyes or look a little more brown. So it's not always the most flattering. So I think next time when I try the look, I'm going to do more of like a monochromatic look, which is what I'm more comfortable with. But I just kind of wanted to show we did create something really fun and unique. I feel like formula wise, I thought most of the palette was pretty good. Besides those last mattes, I felt like those were a little hard pressed in the pan, a little hard to blend out onto the eye, especially getting into those darker shades. So I wasn't super pleased with those. I prefer my mattes to be a little bit more blendable and more buttery soft personally. I did want to compare it with a couple other palettes in my collection. I do think this one's actually very unique, but this is kind of last year's standout summer palette for me, the Lush Life from Colourpop. These aren't really that similar, but I just kind of wanted to throw them up side by side. This one does have those darker mattes again, kind of similar tones as in here, but I felt like the quality was actually better in Lush Life. I don't know why there's like an inconsistency there, but that's kind of how those look up next to each other. This one's a little more brighter. I feel like this one's a little more deeper. This one has more orange. This one looks more reddish, but kind of similar in a way. I also grabbed my Malibu Barbie palette. I feel like I always throw this one in because there's just so much fun colors in here, but this one I feel like doesn't really have, again, the brightness that this one does, at least in the oranges. And this one's a little more turquoise. This one's a little bit more of a true blue, but I mean, there is kind of some similarities going on here. I always like to pull out the It's a Mood. If you guys have this palette, this has a ton of shades in it, so there's always some similarities. And these both do have blues and oranges, but again, this one's a little more brighter in my opinion, more teal. This one's more of a darker blue, so not exactly the same. But I just wanted to kind of show you guys a little bit of some other palettes that might look a little similar, but I really think this is a more unique color story to Colourpop. So that's the palette. Next up, of course, I do love their SUPERSHOCK highlights. I like that they have the smaller pans this time. I really think this flip-flop shade is beautiful, but we do have a lot of these kind of tones that we have seen before, so if you do have a couple of their other SUPERSHOCK highlights, you might already have something similar. But actually I was impressed by using this Windmill color as like a glowy blush for me. I feel like this could be something really fun for summer, but a really nice range here for all skin tones in this line. I do love their eyeliners, but they always come out with these in a ton of collections, so you don't always need like every shade. I would say my top picks is definitely the orange puppy. This one is so bright on. I was impressed. Of course, the blue as well is a little more unique. This one is Crystal Crush, and it would be beautiful paired with this palette. You probably already have a brown and a nude in your collection, so you probably don't need these two unless you just love their formula. And then the glowing lips, these are really fun summer colors. I do enjoy these a lot. Formula wise, they're my favorite from Colourpop, so I would recommend. But that is everything in the collection and my first impressions here. I hope you guys found this video helpful. Let me know if you guys will be ordering this collection. Again, it should be launching this week Thursday, 10 a.m. PST. I will do a reminder post. You can use my code 5LeahJanae, of course, to save on any of your Colourpop orders. But I have so much stuff I want to review this week. I'm supposed to be getting my House Labs order in finally. I ordered from their rebrand. It was supposed to come Friday, and now I feel like I'm late to the game, of course, so we'll see what happens with that. I also ordered the new Anastasia palette, so I would like to get a review up there too. That palette looks stunning. I cannot wait to try it. But that's gonna be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.